Okay, so we have two separate equations. Today is a review for this test, and this is the hardest kind. We did do it for 3 days. This is not new. But on the very first day, I would have given you this because the equation would have canceled perfect. Do you get what I'm saying? And when I did this, all you guys said, oh, this is so easy. And you're right. It is really easy if we make the problems so that you just cancel right away. That's called elimination. But this time, without that -2 there, it's not so easy. But she just told us what to do. Multiplied by -2. Here, and here, and here. So do that on your paper right now. Some of your pencils are moving. That means I can tell you're not doing it. And that's the perfect way to fail if that's your goal. Is when it gets tough, quit. Okay, so we multiplied everything by -2. Now, we actually have to get the new answer. I'm going to put it above. Do you get why? Because I have room up there. So, this is -2x. This, ooh, what's that? Positive 8y equals 11 times the -2? -22. All we did is multiply that out and put it up there. I'm about to erase the blue one, so if you haven't caught up, catch up now. All right, so now that this canceled, I'm going to make it erase. Now, this should be an easy question for you. This is the kind that you guys said, oh my gosh, that's so easy. So go ahead and cancel things out and see what you get after these two cancel. See what you have left. And wait a minute, how did that turn? Okay, it's okay. It's going to work. That's a minus in there. I just had a box around it, so I was covering it up. So, my bad. So 8y and a -3y makes 5y equals. And this guy over here, negative what? -10. Very good. Divide by 5, y equals, here, I'll do my divide by 5 in a different color. Y equals -2. A tendency is for people to go, oh, phew, done with that really hard problem. But remember, you just got the y. You don't even have the x yet. So, stop talking to other people, please, while I'm teaching. Zip it. Okay, so this -2 goes back up into the problem. So now, I'll figure out where to put it. I think I'm going to put it into the black equation on the top. I think that'll be the best one. So I'm going to put that -2 into where the y is, which is right here. I'm going to drop in that -2 right there. Because y is -2, so it needs to go right up in there. And then solve from there and figure out what x has to be. I'll pause for a second while you give that one a try. Actually, I'm going to rewrite it first. -2x plus 8 times -2 is equal to -22. And I know, that's asking a lot of you guys. That's a complicated equation. But you can do it as long as you can handle multiplying things like 8 times -2. And then if hopefully you know how to get rid of that from both sides by either subtracting something from both sides, or I'm going to pause while you try to finish that off. Okay, so to finish this off, that makes negative 10. Sorry, negative 16. So I have negative 2x minus 16 equals negative 22. Then I'm going to add 16 to both sides. And you should have said negative 2x equals that. And again, you'd have a calculator on this test. I really wish you could do it without. I know a lot of you can. But if you can't, then you need to be able to put in negative 22 plus 16 on your calculator. And that's going to be negative 6. Final answer, after you divide by negative 2, and again, calculator could do that, you would have negative 6 divided by negative 2. The negatives will cancel, positive 3. So there we go. The first thing we found was y equals negative 2. Then we had to do all this extra work. We found out that x was 3. So our final answer is x is 3 and y is negative 2. That is tough. I get it. That's why we're at the end. It's the end of this semester almost. We have something next week after you come back from break, but it's the last hard thing. The quarter ends at the same time as the semester ends, which is basically a couple weeks into January. All right. So once you come back from break, I know you guys all know we got 4 days here today, a few more days, and then we got the test tomorrow. You get that test finished up. We'll just do something with the top 20 for those last 2 days before break, so it'll be lighter, easier stuff. Everything is so much easier than what we just did there. Okay, so the top 20 thing, we'll finish that up right before break. And then after break, you have one last unit. And then one last unit is on what's called inequalities. Have you guys seen things like this? A is greater than 3. Okay, well, all you have to be able to do is change it to like an equation where we say 2a plus 1 is bigger than 3. And you act just like it's an equation. And I'm just previewing what we're doing next week. 2a plus 1 is equal to 3 would be easy. Subtract 1, divide by 2, and it'd be done, and it'd be really easy. The only thing is, you just have to swap out a greater than sign this whole way. Like greater than, greater than, greater than. So a must be greater than 1. So those aren't going to be tough at all. What I'm trying to get across to you is that today's stuff is the last tough stuff. I know it's hard. That we're doing for next week is easy again. So if you can get through this one last thing, you have made it through this semester of the lines portion of LQ. All right? This is the last tough thing. All right, let's just do one more together, and I'll make it one off your worksheet. I'm going to pause for a second. I'll hand those out. Okay, just a little summary now of what you're supposed to know lately. We do 2 major kinds. One is called substitution, and the other is called elimination. Because the graphing method is super simple. You just see where the 2 lines cross, and wherever they do, that's the answer. All right, so the substitution and the elimination go something like this. Let's say I have x plus y is equal to 6. And then let's say I have another equation that says like y equals x plus 2. Now, if I'm going to use substitution for this, I would say, oh, y is equal to x plus 2. Therefore, I can substitute in, and wherever I see y, I can put x plus 2. The black marker won't work for some reason. That's strange. So anyway, I'm going to take this x plus 2 and put it in where y was. So I'm going to rewrite that equation. X plus 2, that's where y used to be, and I just put in x plus 2, equals 6. Then I could solve it by saying x plus x makes 2x plus 2 equals 6. Subtract 2, and I have 2x equals 4. X equals 2. Now, when you're done with these problems, you have to have both answers. I have x equals, but I don't have what y equals. So I can just bring this up, x equals 2, and I can put it right here in that equation, or I could have put it right here where this says x in that equation. But this isn't too tough, this one right here. 2 plus y is equal to 6, therefore y must be 4. So now that I have x equals 2, I can say, oh, and y has to be 4. And you need both parts, your x and your y, to get your answer. That's called substitution. And this one is called elimination. 2x plus y is equal to 8. So let's say I had this problem right here. And notice, for elimination, you want this to line up so that this and this would cancel each other out. Or if those two don't, maybe these two would. Right now, I'm close to having it right, but these aren't going to cancel each other out because y plus y would make 2y. So what you do is you look for which equation generally has smaller numbers in it. Generally, this equation has smaller numbers in it. So I take that equation and I multiply it by something so that you will have a variable eliminate, as in disappear. So I'm going to look at these two and say, oh, these are so close to eliminating. If I only had this top one have a negative on it, it would be the opposite of this one. So I need the negative in that top equation. So I take this one with the smaller numbers and I multiply it by whatever you need it to be. In this case, I'm multiplying it by negative 1. Negative 1, negative 1. So now, after I do that, I can say that this equation, I'm rewriting it now, as negative 2x, this part is negative y is equal to negative 8. Now, these two have become my main two equations after rewriting that top equation. Now I can see that these two are the opposites of each other, so they will cancel out. And 6x and negative 2x, or 6x minus 2x, gives me 4x equals 24 minus 8, which gives me 16. So I divide both sides by 4, and x equals 16 divided by 4 is 4. So there's x equals 4. Now I need to go and put that back in the equation. X equals 4. I can put it back into this blue equation right here. Change to a blue marker here. And I'm going to put it in that equation right there. So I'm going to write 2x plus y equals 8, but then I figured out x is 4. So I'm going to replace this x with a 4. And this makes 2 times 4 is 8 plus y equals 8. So I subtract 8 from both sides. And y equals 0. And can you tell if I'm done or not? Well, I've got an x equals and I've got a y equals, so I am done. My answer is at 4, 0, where x equals 4 and y equals 0. There's an example of elimination. That's the toughest stuff that we've done so far. And our test on this is tomorrow. Have a great day.